One from John Reagan here. I'm working to create a body of work based on your system of painting, and do you prefer framed canvases or wraparound for the Western type paintings? Well, John, I thank you for your communications with me. There's been quite a few of them, and I know you've got some DVDs, and I think I sent you a magnifier. But listen, I saw that last one of the drovers in the late afternoon light. Now that was a good painting. Proportions were great, light was good, composition fine, balance was all in there. So all the elements were great there, John. Western painting, have it framed, mate. Don't do a wraparound, just a good, nice frame around there, a bit of dust to match the colours in that painting of yours. One from Beverly Neal. Why varnish and when? Well, Beverly, I always varnish my paintings, and I like to leave them for about 2 to 3 weeks. I know that the purists say must be 3 to 6 months or even more for that paint to go right off. But you know, you can always use that pre-varnish, which will just sort of seal it off. And oddly enough, not all the varnish I use is turpentine based or spirit based. Some of it's acrylic based. In fact, I've been using recently the varnish we use on G-clays. Now that's an acrylic base which washes off if you need to restore it in 150 years' time. But it's a good varnish. It puts a nice finish over it, a semi-gloss, and I regard that as fairly good varnish. So don't be stuck on one thing, look around for other things as well. Got a question here from Jose Mestizo. Question is, what are your favourite colours you use, Robert? Well, there are 3 fundamental colours, Jose, I use. One is yellow ochre, second one is light red, and the third one is cobalt blue. Now those 3 colours should occupy the entire spread of your canvas to start with. Whether you're working on water, sky, building areas down here, this entire painting was painted with those 3 colours first. And then I look for the little dart away that run off into those other special colours. That's why all my paintings seem to have a unity about them, because I'm tying everything back to just 3 fundamental palette colours. So they're my intrinsically important and always have been colours. The other ones I'll jump into would be cerulean blue, which is more of a dinky colour. I'll jump into a cadmium yellow, again a more brightly and sprightly and energetic colour. I'll jump into a cadmium red, the same type of thing again. So those, but those other colours can't function without those fundamental ones being in their place first. So stick to that. Got a question here from Gary Adams. Robert, what is the eyeglass magnifier you use? Gary, got to tell you, mate, one of the great inventions or great discoveries I made, and I'd say this would be the biggest breakthrough ever since they invented the brush and the paint, it'd be this magnifier. This you cannot do away with. You must have it if you're ever going to paint something that's got some detail in it. I'll tell you why. It's not just the detail, it also reveals those special little tones, those shifting values that you get in a photograph. Don't be tied to the photograph, but use this to guide your intelligence, to gather that information that you can't get with the naked eye. So it's a crackerjack advance for the artist who wants to do something special and who wants to make an indelible mark when he communicates his image to the public. So use it. Now, I've got to add this. This one you cannot buy. They've stopped production. I got this, it was about 140 bucks in USA about 7 years ago. Now, so those of you, and there's been a few people I've sent an alternative one to, which I'm fiddling around with. This little one is a very cheap version, and it works. It's got the same magnification. It's a similar sort of shape. I'm going to change it to a square shape so it sits over the photograph, but it's easy to use and it does the same job. Now, if you want one of these, you'll have to get in touch with me and say, Bob, would you please go into production soon because we need that instrument We don't want to be bogged down in just the naked eye doing that magnifying job. Critical. Sherry Ottenson and Mark Scott. How long does it take to finish a painting? Now listen here, you two. That's a secret question. And it's one that I'm very guarded about answering. But I'll say a few things about that. Look, it takes me as long as it takes to finish something. That's like saying, well, Bob, how long's a piece of string? And we all know the answer to that. There is no answer to it. But I'll say this about a painting. Look, sometimes I'll charge into a painting and run through the middle of it and out the end in about 2 days. Other times I'll labour over something for maybe 2 or 3 weeks. Then oft times I'll put a painting aside and come back a year later and finish it because it was just too far in front of me. So it all depends on the energy you have. It all depends on the challenge that you're going to try and address. And it depends on just how much sort of spirit and how much motivation you've got to pile away through it. But in general, 3 weeks down to 3 days, that'll see one done. I've got a question here from Coralie Edwards. Do you put your canvases on a board or over a frame, Robert? They're all over a stretcher, Coralie. This one here is on a bouncy stretcher, and it's good. Now you know why? Because it bounces and it gives with the brush. So when that spring happens, it helps pull the paint off the brush. If it's on a board, it's only a one-way give. But a board is still good if you're doing a smaller painting. So something like an 8 by 10 inch is fine with a board. My son Joe, I know he's painting on boards. He does little pelican paintings and they work fine on boards. He's able to concentrate on the other elements rather than think about the flexibility factor. But on a big one like this, when I use a big brush, I push and I hack away at it. And I like to have that give in the canvas for that reason. I've got a question here from Rick Nakamura. Hi Robert, we'll appreciate your comment on I can't pronounce the name of that mountain, Rick, but I haven't even seen it. But let me tell you this about the painting. That painting is a very, very good piece of work. I know it's only small, 11 by 14 inches, but what you've done there, Rick, is excellent. The majesty of the mountain is perfect. You've captured the spirit of the mountain with that afternoon glow of sun, that burst of sun pushing that yellow up the rib of the side of the mountain and then through the sky. You've got that tree sort of hanging over the front, pushing itself away. It's obviously windblown, and you've captured that wonderful element of nature. And in that, you're telling a story. The balance of the painting is perfect. You're up about 1/3 in the painting, and then the tree does its bit of magic by pushing the eye into the mountain. There's a lovely set of movements in that painting, Rick. And the yellow and then that tinge of green as you roll over past the tree into the base of the mountain, that works. So a job well done. I want to thank you for dropping by and following me on Facebook. It's important, you know, because we're building a little art community here. And so if you've got friends there who are playing with paint and who are dabbling in art, tell them to drop by. And I do like those questions, so keep putting those questions to me because that makes me think about my own painting a little bit. And hopefully I can help you.